Hey everyone. Today I got a good one for you guys. I'm going to be discussing Anthony Joshua. The first thing I have to say about Anthony Joshua is you guys have to put some respect on his name. This guy has the best resume in heavyweight boxing. That is not up for debate. I don't care how you feel about what I say. The actual facts is he has the best resume of heavyweights in boxing. The heavyweight that we consider to be number one right now is probably Tyson Fury. And this is Tyson Fury's record on BoxRec. And you could just look at the record and see that he didn't even really step up in competition until he fought Derek Chisora. And Derek Chisora has never won at a really, really elite level. Chisora is a gatekeeper, and he has been basically his whole career. But if you look at the record list, he fought Vladimir Klitschko in his 24th fight. And then he signed up for, there was a rematch clause in it. And the rematch didn't happen because Tyson Fury tested positive for steroids. And one of the people from Vladimir's camp was mad because they felt like he was on steroids the first time. And that's really Tyson Fury's step-up fight until he retired and came back and beat Deontay Wilder. And most of us in boxing will admit that Deontay Wilder is not the greatest boxer in the world. He just has power. And most history shows us that most big punchers get beat and dominated by boxers anyway. They never get beat by another puncher. They always get dominated by nine punchers. But you have to give him credit for beating Wilder, which I think he beat him on 3 times. But let's get into AJ's record. AJ fought Dylan White in his 13th professional fight. The guy that everybody's excited about Tyson Fury fighting right now in 2022. He fought him when he was 14-0, and we know the results. He knocked him out. Look, Charles Martin, Dominique Brazil when he was undefeated, Eric Molina. I mean, you could skip past that one. But he fought Vladimir Klitschko and stopped him. He didn't beat him by decision. He knocked him out. Carlos Takam. AJ knocked Carlos Takam out. And he did something Tyson Fury's never done, which is defend his title. And he didn't do it against a bum. After he knocked out Carlos Takam in a defense, he went to Joseph Parker, who was 24-0. Then he went to Alexander Povetkin, whose only loss was to Klitschko, and knocked Alexander Povetkin out. You can't say he was washed because Alexander Povetkin would later go on to knock out Dylan White, in an upset. 3 years after Joshua beat him, he went and fought Andy Ruiz, who had only one loss. And he's fighting heavyweights that are in the top 10 because they're sanctioned by the belts that he holds, and he held 4 of the 4 major belts. That's why he's faced the better competition out of all the other fighters, Tyson Fury included. Even though people may argue that Tyson Fury technically is better than him, he doesn't have the best resume. Anthony Joshua does. There's nobody's resume in heavyweight boxing that can compete with Anthony Joshua's. I have an interesting question. Where did all these Tyson Fury fans come from? Because boxing has the memory, or boxing fans, they have the memory of goldfish and the loyalty of a cat. They jump ship, jump on the bandwagon and jump off the bandwagon, and they don't have any loyalty to their fighters, and they have short memories because there was a time where Tyson Fury was hated in boxing by American fans and the UK fans. But listen to Tyson Fury.
Are you bothered if it makes you more or less popular? Are you bothered?
I couldn't give a hoot what people think about me, Like we were just talking about there, the true Brit. They don't class me as British anyway. I'm just a big jippo from somewhere. So it doesn't really matter to me, love me or hate me, I'm still going to win anyway. So if they're hating me, they're going to watch anyway, so I'm not too bothered. It's not a popularity contest, boxing, and it's the best man's going to win on the night. But like you say, I say a lot of things, and
Love of the British public.
to be honest with you, you can only earn the love of the British public. And like you say, being a traveller, it's not easy. Especially, it's not easy because you're never accepted. So it's one of them things, you're always an outcast. It's been that way for 1,000 years, and it'll carry on for another 1,000 years. I ain't going to change that. People's opinions on travellers are very, very disrespectful. So only time will tell if it will change.
Anthony, this guy's talking about the perception of the public, if you're bothered or not. You're on everybody's, on the tip of everybody's tongue in England because of what you achieved in the Olympics. And in boxing, or in any sport, they always love a hero or a villain.
yeah, like I said, I don't know where all these Tyson Fury fans came from. I think they're just people who wanted to see Deontay Wilder lose. But this next clip I'm about to show you is of a real respected person, which is Teddy Atlas. And I feel like I chose this clip because Teddy Atlas is a reflection of what most people in boxing think and see of AJ. And he's just wrong. I mean, he's normally right about stuff like this, but just like in the ring, when you lose focus, like as Customato would say, your mind is not on your work. Uh, Teddy Atlas's mind is not on his work. He's focused on UFC. So he's absolutely wrong about AJ. And I chose this clip particularly because I feel like it's the court of public opinion and everybody shares these same sentiments. And I'm just gonna unpack everything he says. But listen to this clip.
Is that belt, so I'll fight for all the belts because Tyson Fury has the WBC, Usyk has all the others. So if he could guarantee himself against the winner for all the belts, that might be a pretty good deal. 20 mil to stand by and let these two get it on and see who emerges.
This is for the people that got on me a little bit, the haters. When I said that Joshua doesn't behave when he loses the way I sometimes think that a guy that loses, you get used to behavior. Now, listen, I don't say everyone has to cry when they lose. I never said that. No, I never said that. Or give you BS when they lose, whatever. It could be a private turmoil, a private prison, a private suffering. I get it. But that's not what I'm talking about. When he lost Andy Ruiz, he just looked like it didn't matter. And again, everyone shows things differently. I understand better than you guys. I've been in the business 50 years. Okay, I usually don't talk that way. But I am. I understand better than you freaking idiots in your basement, in your freaking underwear. I hope they're clean. But I know more than you do about that. You don't have to teach me, okay? I understand that you can show it and hide it in different ways. But whether it was the Usyk fight, whether it was the Ruiz fight, whatever, when I'd rather see him be, and I'm saying this in a controlled way, a qualified way, a more of a sore loser. And again, I'm not saying I want a guy to be like Wilder was when he doesn't even shake his hand. I'm not saying I feel better with that. No, I want a gentleman winner, a gentleman loser. I'm with you. What I'm saying is beyond that. You can sense it. It's palatable. You can feel it. That it just maybe later it's different in his locker room, but you could just see that in those fights that I mentioned, the Ruiz loss, the Usyk, whatever, that it's just, it didn't seem to matter. It mattered so much to Wilder. Yeah, he showed bad behavior and bad manners and not a lot of class. But at least I saw how much it mattered to him. And again, you don't have to act that way to show for something to matter to you. But there's something to body language when you see a guy about to quit in a fight. And you notice the body language before he quit. And you're afraid to say it because you're not sure if he's going to quit. But then it turns out he quits. There was something about that body language. There didn't have to be. You could have been wrong. He could, just be acting like a guy in distress or whatever. But no, it looked like he was submitting, giving in. Gonna let it go. It looked like and felt like Joshua was letting it go. Just like, okay, all right, my bank account's good. Whatever. Maybe it's just because you're so smart that it's not worth getting hurt. Okay, you could go down that road. Teddy, he's smarter than you. Go ahead.
Teddy Atlas said that he thinks that Anthony Joshua is a gracious loser. It's not that he's a gracious loser, but he looks at losses like getting better and stronger and evolving. But don't take my word for it. Listen to him say it.
Be the first.
Thank you very much for your support. You've been very, very positive after this fight. What makes you so confident that you can make it different the next time around?
Just being a quick learner, understanding the positive out of the negative. If you look at it from a negative point of view, you're never going to have that mindset that you can make a difference because you're down anyway. But if you look at it from a positive point of view and realize that, yeah, I took a loss, but that's a lesson. It's a blessing. I can use it as fuel to get better. I can use it as fuel to kind of right my wrongs. You can only get better from there. So I'm not going to hold myself down from the mistake I made. I'm only going to uplift myself and say, actually, you know what? That was a tough fight, but from that fight, I'm going to go away, get my notepad out, and find ways to improve.
Now, what AJ said, there's nothing wrong with. Uh, life is all about losses, and Ali said it in his speech after his first loss to Joe Frazier. You can't get down about a loss. You just got to learn from it, get better, and come back. And I don't see anything wrong with what he said. I don't know why Teddy Atlas wants him to be a poor loser like Deontay Wilder, but the story that they're even reporting on, the step aside money, one reporter reported that story, and the rest of YouTube just ran with it. Me included. I mean, because I feel like people want to believe that about AJ. They don't like him, and they just want to believe that he's mentally weak. So they just accepted the story without confirming the source. But this is what he actually said.
It's bad about all these interviews I see. I see certain interviews that quote what I said. And I think to myself, I ain't done no interviews. Where did this person get this information from? I'm hearing people saying AJ accepts 15 million to step aside. I ain't signed no contract. I ain't seen no contract. So as it stands, stop listening to the bullshit until it comes from me. I'm the man in control of my destiny. I'm the man that handles my business. I'm a smart individual, and I make calculated decisions every step of the way. Don't listen to the bullshit from other sources. If I tell you something, then you know it's real.
Now, to address what Teddy Atlas said about Deontay Wilder, I'm not even going to get into the glove gate and the excuses, et cetera, et cetera. This is before Deontay Wilder even took his first loss. And look at how he acted towards AJ's loss, not his own loss. Look at how he acted towards him. He rooted for him to lose his fight against Povetkin because he didn't want to face the challenge of fighting AJ. And Teddy Atlas thinks that Anthony Joshua should behave this way.
Very, very, very serious business. How do you think his fight with Povetkin plays out?
I really don't even care, bro.
No.
I hope Povetkin knock him out.
No, you don't.
I really do.
I'm
down with it. I hope Povetkin knock him out.
Man.
You know, we're gonna show the world like he was.
Don't you want to be the guy to do that though?
I did. I had the opportunity.
That was even before Andy Ruiz beat Anthony Joshua. He's rooting for him to lose. You heard, and I quote, I hope he gets knocked out. Now, what kind of champion talks like that? Now, this is after Anthony Joshua was knocked out by Andy Ruiz and he stopped. And this is what Deontay Wilder had to say.
Look past guys, and you know, Joshua coming over here the first time in America, he's been built up and boosted up in height, so big, you know, and you had to come over here, then fighting a guy you looking past and get knocked out like that, man. That's, you know, to me it depends, you know, with everything that was built up in there, I would have felt embarrassed. You know, he quit. The guy gave up in the ring. Yeah. He got dropped 4 times and gave up. He's supposed to be this big guy, bigger than life. So
not only did he wish that Anthony Joshua get knocked out, when Anthony Joshua got knocked out, he was happy about it and said Anthony Joshua should be embarrassed and that he quit. How does a person that get knocked down 4 times quit? They got up, right? They could people that normally quit, they submit on the mat. They don't keep getting back up. And Teddy Atlas said he quit also. Like I said, I got so many things to unpack. Let's get into that. Let's get into if any.
He got the job done, and as he should.
Okay, so people kind of comparing your performances that you went 7 rounds, he went round.
I know, it's stupid of me, yeah.
No, is it?
I should have taken him out early, man. I won't be making that mistake again. You know what I mean? I could have taken him out in the second round, but it went easy. You know, hurt him in the second. But yeah, comparing, he done a better job, man. He knocked him out earlier than me, so he's a good fighter. He's a good fighter.
Now, what you must understand is Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua were going back in negotiations, and Eddie Hearns thought it would be a good idea to build Anthony Joshua's profile in America. So what did he do? He had him fight Jarrell Miller in Brooklyn to build his portfolio or his profile, notoriety. And Jarrell Miller tested positive for everything under the sun, which is not Anthony Joshua's fault. But then they brought in a last minute replacement, and he had been preparing for Jarrell Miller, and Andy Ruiz is a different style, different build, different everything. And it was a dangerous fight. He only had one loss, and everybody knows Andy Ruiz has fast hands and can punch. And Deontay Wilder had just fought Dominique Brazil, and he knocked him out really, really fast. So that put more pressure on AJ fighting in the States in front of the Americans, trying to build up his profile. And he wanted to finish Andy Ruiz, whether he admits it or not. He wanted to finish Andy Ruiz in the fight because he felt pressure from Deontay Wilder KOing Dominique Brazil in the manner that he did. And this is proof. Listen to him say pretty much the same thing. A combination of all these things is what led up to AJ taking more risks and throwing a punch and getting hit with a blind punch that he didn't see. Because, like I said, he got caught up in the hype and thought he had to get a sensational knockout like Deontay Wilder and end up getting caught himself with a punch he didn't see. And we know that those are the punches. AJ misses a hook right there and then loads up to throw another one. Andy Ruiz throws a shorter one with the shorter arms and catches him right on the equilibrium, right while he's punching, and he doesn't see the punch. And that first one knocks his equilibrium off, and the second one doesn't do any better. The second one kind of does further damage, and he just never got his legs back under him through the whole fight. The one where he catches him right where he's going to the ground, not that one. That was the arm punch where AJ caught on the arms, and the second one is too. But he's going to come. Not that one. Not that one. See, them was all arm punches. Andrew Ruiz just throws wide, fat punches and goes crazy when he gets AJ hurt. But right here, he catches him right on the equilibrium. That was the shot that really, really hurt him. The first one hurt him, but that one right there was like a perfect shot, a perfect finishing shot. He never got his legs up out of him. And then right here, AJ spits out his mouthpiece because he's trying to buy more time, not because he's quitting. But regardless of what everyone thinks about AJ quitting, this is what really happened.
Quitting. He's looking for more time.
He's been down 4 times. Joshua turning to his corner. He's got to be careful here.
He turned his back on me. I picked up his mouthpiece. I don't think in any sense he was quitting the fight. He just wanted those seconds, but the rules don't allow me to give him those seconds.
So like my gum shoulder's out on the floor. Yeah. Okay? So I've walked back to the corner and he's counting, and I think he's still in the count. So he's like, walk forward. So I've walked 2 steps forward, and he's holding my belt. And then he's kind of pushed my belt back. So I've put my arms on the ropes. I thought he was going to put my gum shield in my mouth, or you call your corner over to rinse it. I've been in boxing for a long time. And then straight after that situation, where he pushed me back in the corner, he just called off the fight. But my gum shield's not in my mouth, so if you haven't put the gum shield in my mouth and asked me if I'm ready to fight, how can you call off a fight when the person isn't fully... It's like telling someone you can't fight, but he's only got 1 glove on. You haven't given him the chance to fight, to call a fight off. And that was the whole point of it, is like, for me, is even though it's an uphill struggle, I want to always get up and be in his face. Even though I'm struggling, I just wanted to get up and just kind of stay in as long as I could. I'd rather have gone out on my back than the referee calling it off, but he has a job to do, and we respect that. And that's just how I felt about the stoppages. He should have put the gum shield in my mouth.
Like I said, not only is it disrespectful to say Anthony Joshua quit, and he actually didn't, but people forget, man, Klitschko and him had fight of the year, and it wasn't no boring boxing match, man. I remember that fight, and it was exciting. It was back and forth. It wasn't lopsided. The fans there were going crazy, and Anthony Joshua overcame adversity, got hit by the hard-punching Klitschko. Like, right there, look, a lot of people say Anthony Joshua can't take a shot. He was taking a lot of clean shots by Klitschko. What it is Anthony Joshua takes his eyes off his opponents and gets hit with blind shots. It's not that his chin is not good. It's just that he has trouble tracking his opponents. But this fight, a lot of people thought Anthony Joshua was going to lose, including me. I picked Klitschko in this fight because I knew Anthony Joshua would gas out. But he showed heart. He came back and finished Klitschko. I mean, and how many people had ever finished Klitschko? Klitschko hadn't been like stopped probably since like Lehman Brewster, and that was years and years ago. But anyway, I digress. We need to start putting some respect on Anthony Joshua's name, man. Like, There's nobody in the sport of boxing with a better resume who has knocked out Klitschko because people wasn't chomping at the bit to get in there with Klitschko. Deontay Wilder's trainer, when he was a WBC, not trainer, Sally Finkel said when he was WBC champion, he needed more time to go fight Klitschko. Anthony Joshua did it with like maybe 14 or 15 fights in. It even took Tyson Fury 24 fights before he finally fight Vladimir Klitschko, and he did it on steroids. So, like I said, man, we got to put some respect on Anthony Joshua's name. He showed in this fight that he could finish. He showed that he could endure, persevere, all that good stuff. And he showed it, man. And he went out, and that fight was exciting. Go back and pop that fight in. If you think Tyson Fury versus people love heavyweight fights. They love back and forth heavyweight fights. That's why they love Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder, the trilogy. But this was just as exciting as a trilogy, but we just have short memories. But like I said, we got to put some respect on AJ's name, man. AJ is one of the few boxers in history to do what Lennox Lewis did, which is go avenge his losses. He lost. See, a lot of people have goldfish memories. He lost to Dylan White in the amateurs. As a matter of fact, Dylan White beat the shit out of Anthony Joshua. He beat him pretty bad. He knocked him down and everything. And what happened in the pros? Well, I could just show you better than I could tell you. Not only does Anthony Joshua have more title defenses than any other heavyweight, but he actually went back and avenged his loss. The only person I could think of that did the same thing was Dylan White. And look, when he fought Andy Ruiz, he didn't run. He clinched Andy a lot to keep him from throwing those equilibrium shots. But he was fighting Andy Ruiz. He wasn't running from him. He wasn't boxing like a scary boxer. Right there, Andy Ruiz lands the same punch that he landed in the first fight. AJ comes right back. And even though those punches miss, it's telling that he came right back. AJ is not as mentally weak as everybody thinks he does. Look, he catches him with a hard shot right there he didn't see. And AJ gets hurt. He shells up a little bit, but he doesn't quit. He doesn't submit. He could have easily submitted right there. He doesn't submit. Like I said, Anthony Joshua has the best resume. He doesn't deserve the respect that he's getting. He's avenged every loss that he's had, and he's trying to avenge this one. And still people are keep shooting this narrative that Anthony Joshua is weak-minded, a bum. Some people said if Anthony Joshua comes out and throws body shots to Usyk, that he's going to get knocked out. That is so disrespectful. It's disrespectful for so many reasons. The only reason that Anthony Joshua looked like he was going to go in the Usyk fight is because Usyk kept hitting him when his head was down, just like Andy Ruiz hit him right there. And he kept getting hit with blind shots right there. See, blind punches that knock him off balance. And it wasn't like he was really getting. Usyk's not a devastating puncher. What is all this respect for Usyk come in at? Do people forget the other two heavyweight fights that he had? See, the difference is those heavyweights didn't respect Usyk, and AJ showed him too much respect. That's the difference, because those people mauled him. AJ should maul him. He should use his physicality, use his size. As a matter of fact, the blueprint to beat Usyk is already out there. All he has to do is go watch Ugas versus Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao has faster feet and faster hands than Usyk. And the game plan is already out there. But like I said, I'm going to give an in-depth breakdown in my Patreon of how AJ could beat him, but I don't think he'll have the discipline to do it. He might. I can't underestimate AJ. He's proved people wrong in the past, and he fights better when he's the underdog. With the Vladimir Klitschko fight, with the Andy Ruiz fight, he fights better with his back against the ropes. He has a championship heart and pedigree. I mean, that's what history shows. We got to go by the history, not people's emotions and feelings. But this statement that he made right here really disturbed me and makes me pause.
Last part, I'll get it back. I knew I'll get it back. So I just brushed that, but this one hurt because I was.
But like I said, AJ tips off mentally where he's at and if he's focused or not. For the first Ruiz fight, he smiled at Andy Ruiz and shook his hand. For the second one, it was all business. Look, this is from the first fight. He puts his hand down, shakes his hand, smiles at him. We're buddies. This is what he does when the pressure's on. He's the overdog. He's not the underdog. He fights better when he's the underdog. When he did the exact same thing for both of his losses. He was too friendly. Look right here. He's smiling with Andy Ruiz. And then he let Andy Ruiz hold the belts right there with Usyk. He's smiling. Look at him, y'all. That's basically what he just said right now. The same exact thing. He does that when the pressure is too much and the pressure mounts too much for him and he's the person expected to win. Anthony Joshua fights better when he's the underdog, and his track record shows it. But he did something this time around that I like, that I'm impressed with, is the first time around he said that, you know, he wanted to prove everybody he could box. Check him out.
Fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world. Usyk came up from cruiserweight, great fighter, 12-round fighter. I wanted to box with him for 12 rounds and show, because there was always this stigma is that I can't box. I'm a big, stiff bodybuilder. So I said, all right, cool, let me practice my boxing. Try practice my boxing with Usyk. It didn't go to the decision. He won 9 rounds, I won 3. Next fight, I win, 4 more.
Now listen, it's disappointing the fact that AJ even allowed some couch potatoes, because the media in boxing, like I said, is YouTubers. The UFC is controlled by the UFC. It's like the NFL, they're all locked down. But he let YouTubers dictate to what he say because they say he's a bodybuilder. But somebody asked where he got hurt. That's where he hurt Usyk at, right there. That was the best punch that was landed through the whole fight. And had AJ moved in instead of backing up, he would have finished Usyk. So I think it's really disrespectful for people to say that AJ is going to get stopped. Not early. If he does, it'll be late, and he keep getting caught with blind punches that knock him off balance. That's a way he could get stopped, but he's not going to get stopped early. And he should start really fast in his fight for that reason. He should go to the body because he has success. He should go watch old fight films. I've been seeing him go around the states of the United States, learning little tricks, but that's not going to work because Bill Belichick says this, and I wholeheartedly believe it. He says that fighters win fights, but coaches lose them. Think about that. It's true. The coach can't help him win the fight, but he can help him lose it by not making adjustments in the corner. And I believe that AJ should have got somebody for the experience. It wasn't about the game plan. He had success in that fight if you go look at the 5th and 6th round. But I just can't believe an elite athlete with all his accomplishments is listening to YouTubers about how he should be. I mean, he already is the part. He don't have to look it. He could, as the weights give him confidence, go lift them. But before you guys could say it, I'm already answer it. Usyk is not impressive to me because I've seen it done before. Yes, it's been done before. Michael Moore skipped cruiserweight. He went from light heavyweight to heavyweight, and he won 2 titles from 2 different people. He didn't win it from one person that stylistically and mentally was defeated. But if AJ can go in and build off this right here, this punch, he could beat Usyk. But one thing that's given a glimmer of hope is AJ's lifting weights again. I don't agree with the weights, but it shows that he's not listening to people and he's doing what got him there. But check this out. AJ double jabs Usyk through the guard and hurts his nose, and Usyk puts his hand on his nose. Mr. felt that jab, and this is all from the same round right there. He catches him with a left hook and dazes him. AJ's best rounds were the 5th and 6th rounds. And AJ even controlled him, like right there, put his arm around him, steered him, stuff you might have missed. And then he catches him with the hardest shot of the fight where he really, really hurt him. It's all from the same round. Check it out right here. It's coming up. Like I said, people have virgin eyes. They might have missed it. They think Usyk was his ghost with this unbelievable foot movement and foot speed. But AJ had his best rounds in the 5th and 6th. And if he could duplicate that, look, that right hand right there hurt him a little bit, but he's supposed to land the best shot that he landed all fight out of the 2. It was the best punch, and it dazes Usyk. Right here. Right there. That punch hurt him. And like I said, if he can go back and duplicate the 5th and 6th, or go pop in some old tape of Manny Pacquiao versus Ugas, or he can go older than that, he can get the victory. It's not an impossibility. And like I said, I like that he's showing the mental focus, and he's like, no, I'm not stepping aside. He's showing that you champion regardless of popular belief. But I just had to myth bust and show, because everybody have this disrespect for AJ, and I don't know why, man. He's the most accomplished heavyweight. But anyway, it's the Boxing Scholar, and I'm out.